My name's Natasha, and I go by Lo Zen because that was the name that was gifted to me by my ancestors. So I should say I'm Lo Zen, but I really go by either or. I like to go by Lo Zen in the spiritual space because I feel like she's the spiritual gangsta in me, and yeah, and I feel like that's what's really been needed on my journey, is for that part of me to be here. So this is the safe space that I've wanted to create to share with people that are going through life and are just having a hard time or having a great time or just trying to figure things out or try to navigate or try to find their way. I really want I really wanted to connect to people and connect people to one another and to just try to make life easier, to try to make this game easier because we need one another. And there's a lot of division, there's so much separation, and my goal has always been to create an intentional environment where there is community. So this is funny because I did not think that this is where it was going, but thank you, Spirit, for guiding me to a place where I can show up authentically as myself and just be raw and real with y'all because I really feel like that is what is going to make the biggest impact. Not hiding my abilities to, enjoy channeling my spiritual side can get to truly be free. And I feel like this is kind of like a restart in a way that's just allowing me to really align with the people that are meant for me to align with. And yeah, I feel like I can just do that here. So I'm really excited to start this community and to really actually do it intentionally because I think that YouTube has its own vibe for a reason and I want to respect that. I'm so happy to be here, as you can tell. Today, I kind of want to talk about my feelings and my emotions. I feel like a lot of us are waking up to our emotions and how irrational they are. And as somebody who has been in their logical mind their whole lives, like I'm a Capricorn moon and I don't thrive in my emotions. I literally have an earth sign there that is very pessimistic and is like the father sign versus the moon is the mother. And so, even with my mom, I've had a hard time understanding her because I was in such a logical mindset, such a rigid mindset. I wasn't very flexible. I wasn't very open to allowing different parts of me to show up. I wasn't open to being caught off guard because whenever I was caught off guard, it was like a car accident, literally. Like it just hit so hard, and I think that when you shut your mind off from miracles, or I should say from the unknown or spontaneous events, you close your mind off to the miracles, you close your heart off to the miracles. And when you decide to live in your logic like I have, you miss out on the parts of your heart that want to speak to you. And it's so sad when there's a part of us that wants to talk to us and we are ignorant. We are numb to that part of ourselves. And I think that's the thing that I'm realizing the most right now is that I have had a war between my mind and my heart for such a long time out of fear because I couldn't I felt like my heart kept leading me to places that didn't make sense. And I think when you see the people around you when you're young, you see the people around you and you're like, this doesn't make sense. This wouldn't make sense. This wouldn't make sense. Why would they stay here? Why would they be in these situations for so long? Why would they stay in this toxic situation? Why didn't they just leave? Why didn't they? And there's the excuses that they're providing doesn't even add up to you. You're like, okay, still like, and I think when you're looking at it from an outside perspective in and your brain's not developed on top of it and you're just looking at it as from a logical place of frustration, a logical place of, well, I wouldn't be in this situation had you not chose these decisions. I think that you dehumanize, especially for me, I was dehumanizing my parents, especially my mom, because I was so far removed from my emotions, and because her emotions honestly needed to take so much space, and that was not a bad thing. It's just there wasn't enough space is what it felt like. And so when you feel like there's not enough space for your emotions, and especially when you already have a propensity to not feel your emotions and your sign is wired to not be emotional, you get to be logical. And I think that's where narcissism even comes from, because there's a denial of reality that happens on both sides, but one side is emotional and one side is logical. And so there's no meeting in the middle that happens, because it's like, I'm going to deny your reality since you're denying my reality. And that's just where it starts and where it ends, and there's no understanding. And I think I'm realizing for me that, like, it's so funny. I almost wanted to hide my nails because they're not done, but I don't give a fuck. I think I just had to put that out there for me. But anyways, when you're denying, when your reality is being denied and you don't understand why, and there's no communication, it ends up just being confusion and chaos. And that confusion and chaos is so frustrating, because there's a lack of understanding, and there's like, it's like a one way your whole life. There's no like two lane, there's no double lanes, it's just a one way, and you just waiting for it to be your way, you're waiting for it to be your turn, and you feel like, when is it going to be my turn? And you start living life like that in all the ways. You wonder in relationships, when is it going to be my turn for somebody to see me? When is it going to be my turn for somebody to hear me? When is it going to be my turn for somebody to love me the way that I want to be loved, that I've been waiting forever to be loved? And it's hard because you don't realize that you are not, we cannot feel whole when we're still looking for someone to fulfill us. And we can't even be an equal partner in a relationship, we can't be equally yoked if we still want somebody to fill us for us to be happy, you know, because there's a power imbalance that gets created, and we're so used to power imbalances as children who never felt like we had a voice, or never felt like what we truly wanted deep down mattered, because we didn't even have the time for what we wanted to truly be developed. We just knew what we didn't have, and we knew that that didn't feel good. And so I think that sometimes it's easy to see the darkness in your childhood more than it is to see the light, because you see the things that you wish you had, and you see the things that you went without, and you see the things that still affect you to this day. And you look at things from a judgmental perspective. You look at things from a, well, why couldn't they just do this? Life would have been like this. Why couldn't they just do that? And we don't realize that, you know, you weren't in that person's shoes. You weren't in that person's shoes. You weren't alive at that time. And you don't know what they were going through. You don't know what they were feeling like. You don't know where their head was at. You don't know so many things about where they were mentally, that to assume that they did certain things because that's what your brain is telling you is narcissistic, number one. And it's selfish in its own right. And it's also just has such a huge lack of sympathy. When we don't take the time to understand one another, when we don't take the time to understand why we made certain choices, you know? And I know for myself, today my friend told me that my emotions are new, they're just coming in, and I have to take the time to give it, it's like to develop that relationship with myself, to see how it is that I want to be spoken to see how it is that I want to go about creating this relationship with my emotions between my mind and my heart. And I realized that I was just shaming myself when my emotions came up. After every time there was an emotion, I was just like, why would you do that? What, like, why would you feel that? Like, that doesn't even make sense to feel. Like, it would be like an emotion would come up and then boom, like my voice. And when I look off to the side, it's because it just helps me think better. So I'm sorry, y'all. But it just, I think for me, because I'm so new to feeling my emotions, when I look like down, it helps me actually just like focus and shift inwardly. And honestly, y'all, shifting inward has been terrifying. I don't care what anybody says. going within, I thought I was going within before. And that was just like, an emotion would come on, but I would cry and I would hold myself and I would tell myself it's okay. And I learned to mother myself. But this is a whole new world, being in a place where my emotions are more in sync with who I am now. I feel things quicker. Before it was very delayed. Um, and I'm understanding more of the logical side, but I'm also feeling the emotional side. And sometimes the emotions come back in waves, and it's like, boom, I'm hit with a new memory that I didn't have before. And now my body's having to process that, and my nervous system is having to process that. And sometimes it really takes a toll on me. Sometimes it's a lot. Today, I felt like I was hit with this huge wave, and then after when I came on, I saw like it was like a union wave or a union energy, that the masculine just had like a purge. And I felt like I was gonna throw up. I felt sick. I felt like it was like the remnants of the bowl getting scraped out of the fucking, like, it just felt like the things that were in my relationship. And one thing about me, you gonna learn, I don't know how to stick on topic. um but it all comes back eventually. But I the union energy, it just felt like the last remnants of my relationships were just scraped out, and the things that, and I scraped out, I feel like I'm envisioning a coconut and I'm just scraping out the remnants of the coconut out of the shell. And I just feel like the parts of myself that kept myself in a box for love, the parts of myself that struggled for love, the parts of myself that compared myself and was jealous for love, like the parts of myself that even now I'm watching the time. I don't, I think I'm gonna, can I not see the time? Let me see if I can take that off. Like, I don't know, looking at the time even is making me anxious, because I'm like, okay, let me hurry up and wrap this video up. But it's just like, no, allow it to take the time that it needs. Every single YouTuber has their own style, and it's okay for your videos to be longer. It's just more you gotta edit. But it's okay, you don't have to rush. It's so crazy how we will try to fit ourselves in these boxes that nobody asked us to fit in. Did nobody ask you to hurry up? Why are you rushing yourself? And maybe I should be kinder when I speak to myself. But I think there's so much frustration that happens when you realize that we let the environments around us, the circumstances around us, the people around us dictate how we feel about certain things. We let our past experiences dictate how we feel about things going on in the present, and they're two separate things. There's two separate moments in time. I just feel like when you're on the path to liberation and when you're breaking free from who you used to be, it takes so much surrendering. It takes so much laying down the swords that used to protect you, laying down the swords of being rude and ruthless, laying down the swords of having to be like this deadly scorpion that has to sting, letting down just the guard, the shield that you're carrying that weighs so much weight. Like, letting all of those things down is so overwhelming, because now you're naked. And today my friend told me that sometimes we have to be naked to really live on faith. And I've been saying that I just want to be naked, and a lot of times recently I've been feeling very naked, especially in the world, just very seen. And I'm glad that I'm being seen, but I feel like the nakedness is a different type of faith that's being tested that I didn't know existed. And it's crazy because the levels to faith is nuts. I don't care what nobody says. If you're truly living on faith, the levels of faith, every time you think you got faith, it's like God shows you, you can have some more. You can have some more. Have some more faith, and let's see what happens. Let's see what plays out with this stronger belief. Have a little bit of more faith. And it's like the more fear you put down, the more faith you have to lean into, and it's terrifying. and then you're feeling your emotions on top of it, like you're going through this new phase of life on top of it. It feels terrifying to be this naked. It feels terrifying to be this seen. It feels exciting and exhilarating and thrilling and terrifying all at the same time. It's like I don't even know what roller coaster I signed up for. And I feel this self-doubt. I feel the second guessing myself. I feel the asking myself like what the heck are you doing? What is your plan? And it's weird when you have a plan but you don't got a plan. It's like you know the direction you're going in but you don't quite know, like you know when you'll know but you don't know. That's how I feel. And like I keep seeing like the fool's journey and I that's how I feel. Like a fucking idiot. Like dead ass, bro. And it's weird because like I trust how I feel. Even when I don't trust how I trust how I feel because I can't feel any other way than how I feel. But it's still scary. It's still scary to be out on this ledge. I feel like I'm base jumping in life right now. I'm skydiving in life. Like it feels scary to be out on this ledge in life. To jump and not know if you're going to be caught. They keep talking about taking leaps of faith. I think sometimes we have to admit that we're terrified to take the leap of faith and then do it anyway. And you know, I paused it and then I was just like, you know what? Why pause it? Because I think that people look at the strong friend and don't realize that this is what the strong friend is doing. The strong friend is crying, pausing the video, wiping away her tears, and continuing to press record. Only before it was, I'm not going to show you that I'm terrified. I'm not going to show you that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to show you that I'm following my spirit, this unseen force that nobody can see or feel but me. And when I say see, I just mean where it's taking me. And people look at the strong friend and don't think that they struggle. Don't think that they second guess themselves. That don't think that they don't cry. That don't think that like it's like this weird imagery. I don't know what that imagery is, but it's just like there's a when you people always think that you got it together, they just assume that you have it together. But I think that it comes from you assuming you always have only yourself to rely on. That's what I was doing. Being embarrassed to be seen in an insecure state, not wanting to be seen as vulnerable, wanting to keep up the facade to protect myself. All the while I'm struggling to be heard by myself. I think too many of us do that. We ignore ourselves and then we want somebody else to hear us. We ignore our cries and then we expect somebody to wipe our tears. Ah, this one was a doozy, I ain't gonna lie. This one was a doozy for me. I'm happy it happened though. I needed it. I was gonna do my lashes too, and I said, you know already you finna cry them hoes off. I was like, you right. So I didn't do them. But I'm glad that I can be on a platform where I feel like myself. I don't feel rushed. I don't feel like I have to make content in a certain time frame. I don't feel like I have to hide certain parts of myself. And I can see why people enjoy this platform. Anyways, I hope that this talk gave you any revelations that you needed. I know that I was all over the place and I don't even know if I connected back to anything, but sometimes we just need a ramble. And that's what the safe space is all about. So Comment below, like, subscribe if you enjoyed this talk. I'll be doing more like this because we deserve to just know that we're not alone on this journey. So, I love y'all.